Hello, Asham here. Welcome back to some Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Let's continue.
失礼しました。何?
Nope. Just now I thought I saw something strange. I wonder if I'm tired. It's probably just my imagination. Very tired. Rosa picked up her cup of cold tea. When she did, she saw a small red rose petal float to the surface. Ah, Rose.
そのソファーはローザ様が幼少の頃好んで横になられたものと聞いております。
It wasn't a rose petal. It was a drop of blood that had fallen from Rosa's eyes. In an instant, Canon had beautifully and precisely cut just a single thread of Rosa's life. There was no wound on Rosa's body. However, several drops of blood dripped down from her eyes. Her pain, her uncertainties, and her worries were all gone now. Slowly, she fell down onto her side on the sofa. This had been one of the happiest things she had done during the happiest day of her life.
おやすみなさいませ、ローザ様。あなたの地獄は今。
Canon took a blanket out of the cupboard and gently covered Rosa with it. Anyone would have looked just as though Rosa was sleeping peacefully. Those demons had not exaggerated when calling this trial a battle of love. It was at least accurate on this cruel but unassailable fact that those who have their loves shattered meet with death.
これで僕のノルマは終わりだ。見届けたか、悪魔ども。しまった。よくもママを殺したな。
Oh.
よくもママを殺したな。
One of the two great witches of Mariage Sorcière, Maria, though she was just an apprentice, power sleeping within her had impressed even Beatrice at the height of her strength. In Maria's eyes, though Rosa may have been the Black Witch, she was also the vessel of the mother who she couldn't help but love. Her anger at having that stolen from her was near madness. Maria's attack was too emotional. Because of this, she didn't notice that Canon had vanished for several heartbeats, and she released her barrage at what had become empty space. In the meantime, Canon jumped from wall to wall, around to Maria's back.
ノルマ以上の殺しは不本意だ。でも火の粉は払う。
Yeah. There's a defense of all. Oh, Sakataro. But Maria's not supposed to be able to see Sakataro anymore. He's supposed to be dead.
お前。
外 交換特権。僕とマリアを照準することを許さない。
しまった。
Red curved blade extending from Cannon's hand vanished in an instant. He tried hard to make it reappear, but when he attempted to use it on Maria and Sakataro again, it vanished once more. Because of Sakataro's power, he was unable to make either of them the target of his attacks.
いつの間にそんなところに。ウリュウ、マリアをいじめる人は誰であっても許さない。
Is it bullying if she's trying to kill him? Did that count? Maria finally noticed where Cannon was, and she slowly turned around. Cannon made his sword materialize yet again. But no matter how often he tried, it kept fading out, like a flashlight with a bad battery.
もう逃がさない。マリアのママを奪った罪、許さない。
Yeah, she's not happy.
ママがみんなを殺したように無慈悲に殺す。
I'm assuming her, like, toys? Killed for toys? I'm assuming that Maria, not Maria, Rosa isn't just some kind of mass murderer. As Maria howled, the entire parlour was surrounded by a cube of red magic barriers. It was a closed room, symbolising a barrier that Cannon could never escape. But also, what's Maria doing here? She's supposed to be in the cousin's room. Cannon cursed his bad luck. Even though he had fulfilled his goal in the demon's trial, if he was killed here, he'd be dragged off the game board.
マリア、ほどほどにね。ほどほどに。ママよりちょっとだけ手加減するよ。
Jessica?
失礼します、マリア様。
Oh.
ゼパル様、フルフル様との契約によりお命頂戴いたします。
I was thinking, that's strange. Why is Shannon saving Cannon here if she wants to win?
邪魔をするな！無駄だよ、シャノン。マリアは誰にも照準できない。はい、照準など大それたことはいたしません。ただ私は身を守るだけです。
A cylindrical red magical barrier surrounded Shannon as she stood in the center of the parlor. She made its brightness and thickness grow, and its radius suddenly expanded, filling up the room. It wasn't targeting Maria. Power was being wielded to protect Shannon's body. So, Takataro's power didn't make it disappear.
姉さん。
お嬢様への気持ちはこんなところでついえるの？しっかりなさい。
crushing him with, them with a shield, I'm assuming is what's going on. Into a corner of a room or something. By now, the shield of Shannon at the center had covered up the entire room. Power crushed Maria and Takataro into the corner. Ironically, they were perfectly wedged between Shannon's barrier and the closed room barrier Maria had set up to prevent Cannon from escaping. Maria.
チェックメイトです、マリア様。よろしいですか？いいよ。潰して。それではこれにて。
The entire room was filled with the red light of a shield, and the output and pressure were raised to their limits. Then, crushed between the shield and their own closed room barrier, Maria and Sakataro lost their forms, scattered into a golden splash, and disappeared.
Arigatou. ここで消えるわけにはいかなかった。
こんなとこで負けてたら諦めがつかないもの。
そうさ。こんなとこで負けてたら諦められない。
ゼパル様、フルフル様、私たちも共に試練を終えました。
Now just Beatrice?
これでよろしいですか？
いやー、本当にお見事だね。
I wonder if it is their Opus 34 or if they just added that to make it look fancier.
二人とも文句なしだったよ。
では最後はベアトリーチェの番かしら。おや？彼女。
もちろん、彼女の選んだ生贄のところにさ。
It won't be Battler. Who else would she choose?
さあ、私たちもそこに行ってみよう。
Did she actually choose someone as well? Is what I wonder. Or if did she go random like Jessica? Matsui could be seen in her personal room. Kraus had told her to go to bed. But she couldn't afford to lie around sleeping on an important day like this. However, she realized that she was the type to get excited easily, and that this sometimes held her husband back. So, though she didn't like it one bit, there was no way around it. It was probably close to the time for the break to end, and the family conference would begin once again in the dining hall. Her husband would have to protect the Ushramir family honor from those greedy siblings all by himself. Yes, oh so greedy siblings that, you know, they need money, sure. Something inheritance fraud. I just can't put my finger on it, you know? Those greedy siblings of his, yes. As she grew emotional by his side, she would just tie him down. Though she knew that quietly waiting here was the best way she could support him, that didn't make the waiting any easier. So he pulled a small treasure box out of a drawer. Was her secret box? Inside was everything from valuable items to mere rubbish. However, they were all precious, memorable treasures in Natsui's eyes. She pulled a small pouch out of a box. She stuck her hand inside it. It was a kind of charm that her own family had given her when she had married. Spirit mirror to ward off evil. Her own face was reflected in it. Youth doesn't last forever. Recently, she'd seen a bit of her parents and grandparents on her own face. But by staring at her reflection in a mirror like this, she felt as though her soul had returned to the family she'd been born into.
お父様、お母様、夏日が不勉強なばかり。
Of course, her face in the mirror did not answer. However, Natsui continued.
夫を愛しているからこそ、私はここで待っています。しかし、愛は寄り添うものと私は思ってしまいます。
Yeah, there are different forms of love.
ここでこうしているのが一番の協力になると理屈では分かっているのに、そんな自分に惨めさを感じてしまうのです。辛いですね。愛ゆえに待つの。
With a plop, a tear fell onto the mirror. Old dear memories of her life at her parents' house rose up inside her. Now was the time for her to follow her parents' example. When her father came home late, her mother would always sit up straight, waiting for him, prepared for him to arrive at any moment. She would always wait for him, kneeling in the entrance hall. And no matter how late he came home, she would always wake up all the children and line them up to greet him. At the time, I only thought of her as being exceptionally strict. But at this age, I finally understand how strong she was, persevering in her love for her beloved husband, even after being left in charge of a house while he was out.
その夫への愛ゆえに、見知らぬ赤子を抱かされるのが許されなかったのですね。
Ah, is this why Beatrice is going after Natsui? A sudden voice made Natsui jump up and look about the room. When she did, there was a Western lady wrapped in an extravagant dress.
誰です？
Natsui was confused. There was no one like this in this mansion. Even though this was her first time seeing this person, it felt as though she had seen her somewhere else. Her mind had gone blank with anger at the ruffian who had snuck into her private room, confusion over the appearance of someone she didn't know. It took quite some time before she realized that this was the witch of the portrait. Though you murdered a baby you didn't know on that day 19 years ago, I will not hold that sin against you.
あなたが19年前のあの日に見知らぬ何の話ですか？
I was trying to get it to...
あなたが19年前のあの日に
Oh,
見知らぬ赤子を殺めたことに私は罪を問いません。
yeah, who it's attributed to is incorrect. This is Natsui, and this is supposed to be Beatrice's line. Beta had chosen Natsui as her sacrifice. She was Battler's enemy. Beta didn't know much about the details of Battler's birth. However, he knew about the fragment from the previous gaming. Knew there was a chance that Battler was the baby that Natsui had pushed off a cliff 19 years ago. Battler had used this blue wedge to protect Natsui from certain false charges. But if he took it as confession by Battler himself, then from Beata's position, Natsui was an enemy he probably forced Battler to live a painful life.
夫への愛ゆえに 夫の血を引かぬ赤子を殺した罪を私は愛ゆえに問いません。何の話か分かりません。出て行って、ここは私の部屋です。
Yes, I will not hold it against you. I will, however, murder you for other reasons.
ならば私の愛ゆえにあなたを殺すこともまた問わないでください。
Beato slowly stuck out her arms and made as if to grab something in empty space. That grab bound itself around Natsui's neck. Natsui's heels lifted up, and a faint purple shape appeared around her neck, bruising. Natsui frantically scratched at her neck, trying to stop whatever was strangling her. There was nothing there. But to an outsider, it just looked as though Natsui was standing on her toes in anguish, scratching at her own neck. I wonder if this is how her bodies appear. That'll be an interesting set of bodies. We'll have Rosa with no visible wounds, Maria completely crushed, Natsui strangled,
愛し合う二人たちは皆決意を見せました。私のバトラさんへの思いがそれに劣っているとは思いません。私が19年前のあなたの罪を咎めないように、私も自らのこの罪を咎めません。
As Natsui twisted in anguish, in agony rather, something she had been grasping fell from her grip. Since it had fallen by her feet, Beato dropped her gaze to see what it was. It's the mirror. It was Natsui's spirit mirror. When she peered into it, there was a sound like a burst of electricity. That sound released Natsui from the invisible hands, and made Beato topple backwards like a doll. Interesting, because she didn't react to the scorpion stuff. All the spiders. Coughing, Natsui tried to comprehend what was going on around her. Beato rolled over, and dizzy as though she had just bumped her head. She slowly tried to stand up. Her eyes were bewildered, as though even she didn't really understand what had happened.
これは何なんですか。これは意外だ。雲の巣を触っても平気だったそなたが霊境はダメだというのか。
I wonder if this Beatrice could.
私にも何が何だか分かりません。一体何が。
She had thought that only Beato the Elder possessed non-human weak points, such as getting burned by spiderwebs and wards and having her powers sealed by spirit mirrors. However, for some reason, this spirit mirror alone could apparently affect Beato as well. And Beato couldn't understand what about the spirit mirror had such an overpowering effect on her. But Natsui was different. She instantly realized that the reason for the hesitation of this unearthly being, this switch of a portrait, must be the power of the mirror. She rapidly crawled across the floor and picked it up. Then, she stuck it out so that Beato could see it. Beato still didn't know what was happening, so, still sitting down, she looked straight at it. At this time, both of them understood the situation completely. Beato realized that the mirror was working some hateful power against her. And Natsui realized that the spirit mirror had the power to repel witches. That's a face.
鏡がどうしてそれはお前が横島な魔女だからです。
You should say that she's evil.
霊言新たかなるこの霊境は邪悪な存在の全てを退けるのです。それを向けないで。
With the spirit mirror still held out, Natsui cautiously closed the gap between them. She was cautious, so as to prevent the other from suddenly lashing out and stealing the mirror, but she steadily moved to corner this evil.
あなたが何者なのか私に分かるのは、あなたは私を殺そうとしたこと、そしてこの霊境にひるむ邪悪な存在であるということです。退きなさい、邪悪め。
Beato didn't understand what was happening herself. She didn't know why she had to fear the spirit mirror. However, when she tried to look at the bright light let off by the spirit mirror, it pierced her eyes. Though she didn't understand why she must be afraid, she did understand that she must be afraid. By now, Beato realized that the spirit mirror was both terrifying and harmful. As it came close to her, she felt an increasingly strong and painful burning sensation over her whole body, as though someone was approaching her with a hot iron. She couldn't even open her eyes because of the mirror's bright, painful glint.
さあ、元の世界へ退散なさい、横島なる者よ。この後ろ宮夏樹、邪悪に対して一歩たりともひるみはしません。
It's no use. Why? Why is this musty mirror so? If I lose here, I'll be the only one to fail this trial. Just like Georgeson and Shannonson, and Jessica-san and Cannon-san, I also want Battler-san to acknowledge me and treasure me. Will Battler perhaps kill her? And even though I've finally managed to be honest with myself, in a place like this, I alone will be...
諦めちゃうの？あなただけが？
信じるんだ。愛の奇跡は必ず起こる。
I'll Battler-san. I want him to notice me, senpai. And I want him to acknowledge and accept my feelings. If my reason for calling him father and dedicating myself to him was out of duty towards a parent of mine, I would have been satisfied with no reward. That was a deception I used to fool myself. I love Battler-san, and I want him to acknowledge it. I accept it. I won't turn away any longer. I was born because I love Battler-san, and I want him to love me back.
だからこんなところで負けられないんです。退散なさい、横島なる者よ。ここにあなたの居場所は存在しません。
But if Battler kills Natsui, then Beatrice still has to kill someone. The determination had come too late. If she had had it from the start, she would probably have managed to finish Natsui off right then without any fear. But she had wavered. She had taken time to kill Natsui, and things had ended up like this. And now, I am resolved. I want to love Butler-san. I want him to love me.
だからここで負けられない。バトラさんのために私は生まれてきたのだから。
I think we'll find out next time if Battler comes in to save her or if she... however she turns this around. Because, I mean, surely Natsu's going to end up dead here and not be right. Surely. In any case, I hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know if you like you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.